There is no amount of harm reduction voting in the 2026 or 2028 election that is going to bring Democrats the numbers they need to save black people. So if you think we're just sitting at home waiting for the next election and everything is going to be cool, we've already lost everything. We've lost fucking everything. People like me are having to put 80-year-old members of our family back to work in grocery stores like Food Lion because it doesn't pay the bills. Disabled people under Democratic rule now have to answer a mandate 8 months from now that was put forth by Republicans. We have to do 80 hours a month, whether we're coughing up blood or whether we can walk or see or anything else. This is what we have to do because we did harm reduction. And let me tell you why. There is no Democratic plan for your future. Let me tell you why. That triage of how we lost the election, that thing under the DNC that they're hiding, let me tell you how not only did it come to pass, but the reason Democrats in Congress are hiding it. It's called the autopsy of the election where Kamala Harris ran for president. There is a reason why you have Aipac members of Congress supporting genocide in Gaza. There is a reason why all of this is happening. This is the Woke Socialist Podcast. This is going to be a pretty long video because I haven't done one in a couple days, and you really need to listen. If you are 65 and under, you have been hoodwinked. You have been run amok. You have been bamboozled. And you have been given the shaft. Because what they call the baby boomers made sure that you paid into the system and got nothing out of it. Why do I say this? Because I come from a generation of minority workers that benefited from the Civil Rights Acts of the 1960s and the Voting Rights Act. But they thought this thing was permanent. So it's the same rhetoric that white people are now dictating to black people who are poor. I got mine, you got yours to get. That's where it was when I was 18 years old. So I got fed up in the 1990s, and I decided to become a civil rights activist way before it was even popular. You know, nobody was doing civil rights, standing up for Native Americans or black people who didn't have running water. Nobody was doing that right now. But now it's a thing. But let me make something clear about what is to come before I do this autopsy on the Democratic Party. No amount of harm reduction, no amount of third way, multi-billion-dollar donations going to people like Cory Booker and anyone running against a progressive is going to work. No get out and vote or vote blue no matter who movement is going to work. So long as there are Native Americans, white people, citizens from Ireland, and real Jews in America, none of that is going to work. So long as we know none of this benefits us and never has. Now let me get back to my point. Here's the autopsy that I promised. The reason why we lost the 2016 election is because since the 1980s, the only focus that the United States of America has had has been on Israel. Why? Because they were the next generation of indoctrinated white people. Now, what they did through the ages is invite Italians and invite black people and anyone who would sign on to go along to get along. This is the new age of white supremacy. This is not isolated to MAGA. That's just what we see coming to us. This is a multicultural, multinational assault on American democracy. Why do you ask that? Money. If you can exist in the greatest nation that ever accomplished anything in 250 years and convince the population that they can be part of it, you can be rich beyond your wildest dreams. And then, every 4 years, when you fail, you convince them all they need to do is turn out and vote. And because 50% of the population that can vote for this rhetoric does not turn out, it's your fault. It's not because you were misrepresented. It's not because everybody was white or Jewish or Italian. Let me be clear. As I put out this video, not only are Republicans in Congress and the Trump administration going to label me as Antifa, anti-American, anti-Christian, and anti-Israel, Democrats are going to do the same, like they're doing with HASANPIKER, Mr. El Said, Ilhan Omar, and Kyle Kalinske. And those are the marks. And you need to watch out for their lives. In the time that vote blue no matter who failed to elect Hillary Clinton, 1 million people in the United States died from COVID. And all of their incomes relied on themselves. Joe Biden comes into office. Black people don't get a $10,000 check right away. So they say he's looking all old and all this kind of shit. But his replacement was not immediately endorsed by Nancy Pelosi. Why is that? She did not want a black woman to become President of the United States of America. But for those of you in the back of the room that don't understand how this works, when you elect a president like Joe Biden and his health fails, this is the reason you have a vice president. So he or she can take over in his absence. What the fuck are you idiots thinking about? Saying we needed to run a black woman. This was absolutely, positively planned. Because Nancy Pelosi knew that white, racist people in America were not going to elect her. Why did she sign on to that? Because it would cut off the $11 million. If she didn't. Let me repeat. Nancy Pelosi did not sign on immediately to Kamala Harris running for president because it would cut off her money. This woman is worth $11 million of your tax dollars. We can bitch all day about what Donald Trump is spending on this and spending on that. But guess what? Democrats have gotten rich off of making you believe that you need them for a better life. What you need for a better life is you. I'm going to get back to what happened and how it happened. The reason for no autopsy on the Democratic Party and how Kamala Harris lost is this. If the Democratic Party produced Bernie Sanders, who could beat Donald Trump as the nominee, none of this would have happened. The difference between the good government job and baby boomer generation who already got theirs and fuck everybody else is that we saw this. We saw no future without Bernie Sanders. But Miss Wasserman Schultz and Donna Brazile made sure that didn't happen. Why? They wanted a woman. They counted on a blue wave by a black firewall, but that didn't happen. What happened was Bernie Sanders supporters, like me, did not vote for Hillary Clinton. Because the thing with being altruistic and being about the generations and being true to humanity is that you vote for the next 7 generations. You vote for what's coming after you. not what you got now. Step 2. Donald Trump gets into office. And I predict he's going to be in office again. Nancy Pelosi, Merrick Garland, and all these other people who could have stopped this did not. Why? Because at that time, Jared Kushner was already invested in the Middle East. Donald Trump had a Jewish grandchild. So everything American became pro-Jew in Israel. This is to say that people we elected in the American government, because of failure to rise and work for the people in a government for the people, by the people, they thought it was more important to shield themselves against Donald Trump. So they allowed him to run amok and waited till the last minute in the first Trump administration to impeach him. So Biden comes along. And black people who have been accustomed to, if I get 5 cents on the gallon cut on my gas, I'm okay. I'm getting ready to retire. I don't need to worry about the next seven generation. I got mine. Okay, under Obama, we got this, we got that under so and so and so. And that's going to continue on because, and I quote, they always said Donald Trump can't do this. And he did. And he did it with the help of Aipac Democrats. Under Trump's first administration, that Democrats dropped the ball. 1 million American citizens hurried up and waited for action on COVID. One of those people was my grandmother. Now, 1 million black people under Doge are without jobs. And let me tell you these areas this happened. Black small businesses, union construction, government. And I'm talking about Washington, D.C., where people work for police departments and Department of Justice and Department of Labor and all that. All those black people were thrown out of their jobs. Democrats sat by and let it happen. Social programs like Meals on Wheels, like USAID, museums that were dedicated to the legacy of non-white America under Donald Trump were called DEI and shut down and closed. Those employees have no jobs. Under the first Trump administration, relief was given to white farmers, not black farmers, for the losses that they suffered when soybeans could not be sold to China. Under this administration, zero money is ever going to go to black farmers. But the funny part is that now white farmers are losing their legacy farms. In Louds County, Alabama, there is a woman that for years has been documenting the backflow of human sewage into the yards of the black population. 1 out of 3 people that are of slave descent now has hookworms infesting their bodies. Now, when this story came to light, right before Joe Biden got into office, he allocated money to solve this problem. Under Doge in the United States of America, that money was rescinded, reallocated, and we have no idea where it is. Now let's backtrack. For every person in Congress or white American that is going to do a harm reduction vote or thinks that there's going to be a blue wave because you need to do harm reduction for yourselves, let me tell you something. I am on the absolute forefront of a movement to make sure that doesn't happen. "250 years after the first American to die in the Revolutionary War was black, there is no reason that these people do not have a sewage system. And the only reason they do right now is because of Democrats. When the nomination was snatched away from Bernie Sanders, all of these things that would bring about equality went away. Because Democrats needed Aipac. They needed to fund a war against native Palestinians so that they can load their pockets. This is where we are. If black people in Louds County, Alabama have shit in 2026 flowing into their backyards, it's because of you. It's because you don't listen to the youth. You don't listen to anybody but yourselves. But I digress. I'm going to say this. Under no circumstances do we rely on any government official to do a general strike. It's too late for that. It's too late to get up on a podium and tell us what you're going to do for us, because you haven't done a fucking thing. Let me tell you what's going to happen. People like Robert Garcia, AOC, HASANPIKER, Paul Lance, Tennessee Brando Hawk. And most of all, Kyle Kalinske. They're going to rise while you fall. Democrats have failed to meet the challenge that Martin Luther King set forth. So do me a huge favor. If you're a Democrat in Congress that takes Aipac money, keep Martin Luther King's name out of your motherfucking mouth. You have absolutely no right to use it. Absolutely no right to associate yourself with it. The Martin Luther Kings of 2026 are HASANPIKER. They are Zoran Mandani. They are Ilhan Omar. And if you think for a moment that we don't notice and we won't stand down against you, we won't stand down in the next 2026 and 2028 election, get ready to fear us. Because I tell you what, you have delivered nothing that we are interested in. Nothing whatsoever. It's just go along to get along. This is absolutely your end. And just as you might celebrate what's happening to MAGA right now and how their polls have gone down, we don't need polls as black, brown, and red people to understand that you have chosen to turn your back on Martin Luther King. And all the people who have died so that we could get here, and you can do the opposite. How dare you? How dare you accuse MAGA of being evil and anti-American? Right now, the Democratic Party under Aipac and the Third Way that has been pouring multi-millions of dollars into campaigns to oust people in blue states. Like Cori Bush. Are you fucking serious? Really? Are you fucking serious right now? So I'm going to impart some wisdom on people under 60 from a person that's 53. When no one was paying attention, I stood up. When someone is paying attention, you continue to stand up. I am so proud of you. I really am. And every day I get on Secular Talk podcasts and watch the video, or I get on iHip News, or I get on HASANPIKER's podcast. I just want to thank you for recognizing what we didn't. And I can say that. There is no bravery in anything other than standing up for your principles. Now, I don't believe in everything everybody says on a podcast. But at the end of the day, I can live with myself. Now you can pretend that you can live with yourself because you have a big bank account. And you can make money on YouTube. I don't fault anybody for that. But I will say this. The greatest army right now in the United States of America is not the military. It's the man. The 300 million Americans who have nothing to lose. That is the American army. Right now. Now another threat came out today about the counter-terrorist watch list or some shit. You're not going to shut us up. Okay, I have been doing this since the 1990s. You might kill me, but that's okay. That's okay. You've killed people before. But as long as I draw a breath, I am going to follow the example of brave people like Kyle Kulinski. I think it is wonderful. Wonderful. And everyone needs to follow their lead right now instead of either party. I am a socialist. I don't do harm reduction. Now I'm going to close with something for the youth. From someone who is a direct descendant of a slave. And her people were delivered from Senegal to the state of Maryland, where I live initially. This woman became a poet laureate. And I'm sure Donald Trump is going to strip away that title. And so are white people. But I want you to listen to this. Because it's worth the listen. Worth the listen. If you are ever in doubt, if you get death threats, if you think for one moment you have to bend or bow or do anything other than what you feel in your heart you should do, you should remember what I am about to read. Because this goes far beyond politics. It goes far beyond your personal comforts. This goes beyond the generations. This is what I hope your great-grandchildren will hear from me, because they didn't hear it from you. This I dedicate to the greatest traitor in democratic history, on behalf of John Lewis, James Chaney, Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, Ahmaud Arbery, and the list goes on and on. And I also dedicate this to Democratic members of Aipac. You need to listen. HASANPIKER, Kyle Kulinski, Michael Steele, Rachel Maddow, Simone Sanders, Don Lemon, Joy Reid. Listen to this. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me down in the very dirt, but still like dust I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you so beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and suns with the certainties of tides. Just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want me to be broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into the daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise. This is the Woke Socialist Podcast. Sorry, got a little deep there. Please like and subscribe. You might think you're subscribed, but you might not. Please share and share a comment. The more I hear from you, the more you'll hear from me. Have a good night.